when Brian Bradley took the ice on October 7th, 1992. Little did he or anyone realize that number 19 would become the face of an expansion franchise, assembling an all-star campaign by racking up 42 goals in the team's inaugural season. But it's his presence as a genuine person that continues to shine as bright to this day. And from the moment Rick Peckham came to the Bolts in 1996, his ability to elevate a broadcast and the moments within it became a trademark of Lightning hockey. His voice would accompany some of the greatest achievements in team history, powered by his humility to serve as a vessel to strengthen the bond between a hockey team and its fans. For 2 magical days in February of 2025, their respective journeys were celebrated by fans, family, and teammates, paths that led them to become the newest members of the Lightning Hall of Fame.
Welcome back. Rick Peckham, Bobby Taylor with you alongside Paul Kennedy as well. And Chief, talking about that first period, great scoring chances, plenty of excitement for the big crowd.
Rick Peckham is a class act.
He's the voice. He's the one that every Lightning fan knows. You could be anywhere and you hear the voice and you know exactly who it is.
It really matters who's doing the play-by-play and who's doing the color. You want to grab fans. I mean, it makes a difference to ratings. It makes a difference to capturing fans. It makes a difference to the franchise and the love of the players and the emotional bond. Rick had that, and he's such the consummate professional.
He used his talents for so many things, not only for the Lightning, but also to help others. And he has a very humble heart, which I'm proud of.
Just the manner in which he acted day in and day out and still does to this day. That's what makes him Rick Peckham, Hall of Famer.
Jerry Cheevers worked with Rick in Hartford. And I used to listen to him when I lived in New York. And Rick really did a great job in covering the game. So when we had to find another broadcaster, I called Jerry Cheevers. I says, "What's Rick Peckham doing?" He says, "Gee, I don't know." I said, "You got his number?" He said, "Yeah." And I got his number and I called Rick and I asked him if he would be interested. And he said, "Sure." I said, "Okay, then we'll send you a ticket, come on down and let's talk about it." And the rest is history.
Deals it to Bellows, setting it up, he scores! Brian Bellows at 9:05 of the first overtime period. The Lightning celebrate their first ever Stanley Cup win, and it comes in overtime.
Puts it out in front of LeCavalier, he scores! Vincent LeCavalier!
St. Louis lining, shooting, he scores! Martin St. Louis with his first Lightning goal. It comes shorthanded, and the Lightning lead it 5-1.
What you lose often in any endeavor is not the will to perform, it's the will to prepare. And he, each and every season, every night, he came fully prepared, having interviewed, researched, and spoken with the majority of our team. It was amazing to watch.
He really set the standard of what we still try to uphold today. It's like he was so professional, so dedicated, spent the time. He was never not prepared for any situation.
Well, I was very fortunate in many, many ways, and one of the main ones was the autonomy that was given to me by the people at the network, the people with the team, to monitor myself and to be responsible for how I felt I was presenting myself in the call of the games on the air. And I worked extra hard when I felt I was kind of into a slump, like anybody goes through, and players certainly, it's very visible to fans when players are kind of fighting through it. Just prepare more. And I kind of developed that ethic that you just prepare more and things will straighten out. So that's kind of how I approached it. And then video work and watching my telecasts over again and picking apart, what I could do a little differently, try to catch a bad habit before it got to be, a real problem. Just trying to stay on top of things.
He always was so well prepared. He has a classic voice, a classic style, classic delivery. That's been there, generation after generation. It made it so great to listen to him.
Harry Chapin, he has a song where it talks about old friends. They mean much more to me than a new friend. because they can see where you are and they know where you've been. He has seen it all, and he's been a first-class act through that whole time.
I remember Tom Jones, he would write almost every other month, Tampa, you best realize what you have here. You have Rick Peckham and the Chief, Bobby Taylor, together night in and night out. This was a gift from the hockey gods.
The time winds down and the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the 7th game, 1-0. A spectacular performance by Dwayne Rollison, 36 saves, and the Lightning have come back from 3-1 down.
Tremendous team effort and a really good defensive effort on the part of this team. And boy, what a way to come. Down 3-1, coming back and winning it in 7.
I've worked with a lot of guys, and Rick was the easiest guy in the world to work with. He understood what I had to say, and I tried like crazy not to jump on his call of the goal. He had a great sense of building up to crescendo, and then if they scored, it was like the cherry on top of the sundae. How he used to build the excitement on the play was something I could never do. He was so good at that.
Richter surveys the situation. Peckham on the dribble, he scores! Brian Bradley pass in for Andrechuk. Tampa get in front. They score!
You know, by the time I got to the Lightning, I'd worked 11 years doing TV for the Whalers, 7 years in the American League, mostly radio in Rochester. You know, you learn about really the focus of your broadcast is the audience.
They score! Victor Hedman's first goal, and it's a beauty! Bernie St. Louis has tied the Lightning record, 4 goals in 1 game.
What do they expect? What do they need to know? That's my job, is to bring that. And that's what I concentrated on.
Steven Stamkos has reached 60 goals! Here come the Lightning. Garrison on the breakaway. Scores!
The best part of broadcasting live sports is the fact that you don't know how it's going to come out. The players, the coaches, they don't know how it's going to come out.
Scores! He did it again! Point Watson gets it. He toe drags, shoots, and scores! Oh, unbelievable!
But it's just reacting to that moment. Maybe you can anticipate it, maybe you can't, but it's keeping in mind what the audience needs to know.
Out of the reach of Gavrikov in front, points alone, he scores! Brayden Point has won the series for the Lightning, 5-4 in overtime. Brayden Point scores at 5:12 of the first overtime. John Cooper in Tampa Bay moving on in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Phil Esposito came up to me and he said, I finally figured out kind of one of the reasons what you're doing. He goes, you're not shooting. You get into a great scoring position and you try and dish it off. Well, you got a good shot and use it. And from there on in, if I didn't see a guy open, I would just blast it. And if it hit and went in, it went in. If not, there was a rebound and someone would sometimes put it in.
I remember my brother Tony saying, I like this kid, Brian Bradley. I said, well, if you think that's right, Tony, let's pick him. Let's go with it. And we took him. And Brian became, without a doubt, our best player.
Right in, a shot, rebound, they score, Brian Bradley!
Phil Esposito, I mean, you know, when you talk about, you know, a legend of hockey, just a great guy, a great friend. I mean, the founder of the team, you know, him and his brother Tony. Tony was the one that really, you know, got me into Tampa.
He called me on the phone, on a payphone one day and said, hey, honey, I bought a house in Tampa. And I'm like, what do you mean you bought a house? I haven't even, you know, I haven't even been there yet.
We get here to Tampa and you know what, you're out at the fairgrounds, there's fishing in the back ponds, there's a fair going on while we're playing games. You know, even the other teams that came to play us, like, you know, I knew Steve Yzerman, I knew lots of different guys like Brett Hull and Gary Roberts and Joe Newendike and, you know, the who's who of hockey and the different teams. They're like, are you seriously playing in this building? Or is this just a practice facility? I said, no, we play here.
You know, it was an expansion team, so you don't really think of NHL hockey in Florida. So it was all very new to us. All very exciting too, because we all had a chance to play. And you know, you think about Brian Bradley, he came down and scored 42 goals the first year, made the All-Star team. Always in a good mood, always joking around, just a very fun guy to be around. Players, all the teammates loved him, and you know, he kind of just brightened up the locker room.
I don't think in his wildest dreams he would have thought he would have set so many records.
Rebound, Bradley shoots, he scores!
you look at the statistics and what he's done, the offensive production that he had, the way he played the game, he is one of the guys, you look back, and while we don't win a Stanley Cup until 2004, Brad's was part of that group that got the team in the playoffs for the very first time.
Tampa leads this series 2-1.
The Lightning were starting as a new team. They needed their superstar. Who was going to be the superstar? And well, it was Brian Bradley.
Bradley around Luongo in the clear. A shot. He scores! Bradley has done it again. Brian Bradley! A power play goal!
You think of the early years of the Lightning, and yes, maybe not a lot of success, but they still have Brian Bradley.
When I look at my career, some of the special moments I have, and I'll just name a few of them. Obviously, the first game, we played at the Expo Hall. I mean, no one expected us to beat Chicago.
Examiner in the front. They score! Contos again! And it's 2-0 for the Lightning!
We knew we weren't going to win the Stanley Cup or go to the playoffs. We were going to have to grow the game of hockey, especially in a non-traditional hockey market like Tampa.
I gotta tell you this, and this was a bad mistake on my part. When Brian got hit in Los Angeles, and he never played after that.
2 in New Jersey to close the road trip, 2 tonight in this one. And Boucher pounding Bradley into the boards. Bradley is still down.
We're calling Rick Patterson, who was coaching then, because Terry had left. And I said, what happened to Bradley? And he said, he got a concussion or something. Now, honestly, we never heard about concussions.
Oh, it was tough. It was really tough because there was a lot of people that doubted his injury, and that was really hard. And hard on him, hard on us.
Brian never played another game. And I remember apologizing to his wife, Carrie, because I couldn't understand it. In my mind, as an ex-player, I could not understand what he was going through.
We got through it, and it was 4 years before he got back to his personality that we all know and love. But it was a long haul, but we got through it.
Brian Bradley was instrumental in helping grow the game and grow the sport in the Tampa Bay area.
And he's continued to be such a contributor to this organization, to be out there, to be one of the faces of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
For him to be able to come back and do all the things that he is doing now, being there in the community, I think he has done a lot over the years for the organization.
I've never seen Brad's be asked by the organization to do something and not do it. He always has been willing, and again, people enjoy being with him, they enjoy seeing him, they enjoy talking with him.
He's worked hard and he puts himself out there. He does put time into the community and stuff, but he enjoys it. It's a win-win.
There you go Lightning. Yes, have a great day, look at that. Yes, I love that.
He's a personable guy that everybody knows, everybody likes.
Just being a part of this organization, and he's done so much in the community, done so much for hockey. He's done so much to really grow the brand.
This is for you.
We all do a small part in changing our brand, and Brian Bradley is part of that.
It's who and what Brian Bradley is, and what Brian Bradley has meant to this franchise.
You know, we're so lucky to have somebody like him who's been around this long and been part of our history.
So proud of him. So proud. He deserves everything.
Welcome to Amalie Arena, and welcome to the 3rd Annual Lightning Hall of Fame Induction.
You know, when you look back at it, you see guys that, back in the 92 team, some of the guys I haven't seen for over 30 years. Just to see them and their wives and see where everybody's at today, it was special.
Had a lot of people in from out of town. Some follow the team religiously from Ohio, and some really don't know much about the Lightning. so impressed with the Lightning organization, how everything was done first class. My family and I couldn't have been treated better.
I knew Rick was kind of a little nervous, but I was kind of like, okay. But then when we got off the bus, it just all of a sudden hit you when you walked to the blue carpet. It was like, wow, this is really happening. And you looked at all the people and you're like, holy cow. And then when we got to the stage, we sat down, you saw the families, it kind of all hit at that point.
Hey, Chief. This better be the right one.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, hand it to me.
The biceps have never been bigger. You know, the style of the jacket is a little different than most guys my age will wear. Maybe a little tighter in the arms than I'm used to. And I kind of felt like maybe I had pumped up for the occasion. But at the same time, a beautiful jacket, and I'm just so proud to have one. Thunder Alley is such an important, unique place for Bolts Nation. It's your town square. A place that holds great memories. In the old Sun Sports days, we used to have our pre and post game studio set up out here. Our set was right in the middle of that plaza. But to be honored here tonight in your place is special, it's gratifying, and it's very humbling. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Look at that, eh? How's that look? Yeah. Thank you, bud. Yeah, awesome, man.
I owe you so much.
No,
you have no idea.
No. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know what? I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for Phil and his brother, Tony Esposito. And I know Tony's watching right now because they were the ones that picked me in 1992 expansion draft and changed my life, in my family's life forever. Thank you, Phil and Tony. If I could just change one thing, I wish I could change the clocks back 30 years so I could play in front of you one last time. I sure miss that. Love you, Bolt Nation. Go Bolts.
And now we move the induction honors indoors as we immortalize them over home ice.
It's indescribable because, you know, I don't drive the bus. I'm just there for the ride. And to be on that ride with those people and now being elevated to that status as a member of the Lightning Hall of Fame, from Phil Esposito, who I admired, my first team that I followed were the Boston Bruins, the year they won the Cup in 1970, to Andy and Richie and Vinny and Marty, the great teams, the great people that they are, to be around them, to travel with them, to get to know them, to be up there with them. Pretty indescribable what a great feeling it is.
That puck drop was fun to see all the guys on the ice and stuff like that. And then, I told all the guys I was skating off the ice after the puck drop, I said, hey, we have a big win tonight. I'll take you guys all to Fleming's tomorrow for steak dinner. They were laughing.
Bolts Nation, one more time for the newest members of the Lightning Hall of Fame, Brian Bradley and Rick Peckham.
And now we move to the second portion of our program, our induction of the 2025 Lightning Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank the members of the Lightning Hall of Fame committee and, of course, Bolts Nation for receiving this incredible honor. Any notoriety a broadcaster receives depends so much on circumstances, and to stand here tonight is very humbling. Looking back, I can't believe I've been so fortunate to experience all of this and work with Stanley Cup champions and legendary pros. These great people have all contributed so much in me speaking to you tonight. But success in almost anything begins with family. My beautiful wife, Vicki, has been the real hero of this whole experience. In 28 years here, she's handled everything. The boys' school, the busy sports schedules, while I concentrated on my hockey duties. We've been married 40 years, and I very happily look back to a time when I prayed to meet someone like her. And of course, my prayers were answered. Thank you.
I'm truly, truly honored to be going to the Lightning Hall of Fame here today. To the 92 team, wow. We were the beginning, we were the start. We were trying to build a game here in Tampa in a non-traditional hockey market. And it wasn't easy. There were some good times, there was lots of tough times, but we did what we had to do. Look where we are today, three Stanley Cups later. And we all started it back in that day. So that's something to be proud of, guys. Thank you for being here. And to my beautiful wife, Carrie, my best friend, I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for all your love and support for all these years. But I love you now and forever. And lastly, I just wanted to say, I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you all for being here.
From Game 1 to today, and across 32 seasons in between, the contributions made by Brian Bradley and Rick Peckham have not only endeared these two gentlemen to fans across 3 generations, they'll stand as key building blocks for a franchise that would go on to become one of the most successful in pro sports. And now, their foundational work, passion, and efforts are forever immortalized as members of the Lightning Hall of Fame.